Alright guys, today we're going to talk about finding missing sides of right triangles when we don't have a special right triangle like a 45-45-90, a 30-60-90, or we're not able to use the Pythagorean theorem. Our only other option is to use something called SOH-CAH-TOA. SOH-CAH-TOA is a combination of trig functions. Okay, the trig functions include sine, cosine, and tangent. Now, those words might seem super complicated. They're really not. We can use sine, cosine, and tangent and follow SOH-CAH-TOA to help us find any missing side or missing angle of a right triangle. So let's take a look at what SOH-CAH-TOA is. SOH-CAH-TOA, like I said, it stands for the three trig functions, sine, cosine, and tangent. Sine is represented by SO because it starts with the letter S. Cosine is CA because it starts with the letter C. Tangent is TOA because it starts with the letter T. Now, the way you decide which of these three trig functions to use is you figure out what pieces you have and where they fit best. So it all starts basically with the angle. Everything comes from the angle's perspective. So what you want to do is label your triangle based on your angle. Now, obviously the easiest thing to do is label the hypotenuse because, as we know, it's the one directly across from the 90-degree angle. So this is obviously the hypotenuse. No questions asked there. Now, there's two other options. You can have an opposite leg or an adjacent leg. Okay. Now, opposite, you can think of it as across. So the side that is across from the angle. So all the way across the triangle. You have to travel to get there. This would be considered the opposite leg. Adjacent means next to. So the one where you don't have to go anywhere to get there. It's right there, right next to it. Now again, sometimes it's hard if you don't automatically label your hypotenuse. You might be tempted to say that that side's the adjacent side, but know that the longest side has to be the hypotenuse. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Okay. So anyway, once you know the way your sides are labeled, you can figure out which of these three trig functions to use. And we'll look at what that means here in a second. We're going to use SOH-CAH-TOA to find missing sides of right triangles. We're going to find the sine of angle F, the cosine of angle T, and the tangent of angle F. So I'm going to find three things. First, we're going to start with the sine of angle F. Now, if remember SOH-CAH-TOA. Okay. Sine. Sine right there tells me I need to use SO. SO is obviously made up of sine, an opposite leg, and a hypotenuse. So these are the three things that I'm going to be using. Remember, we're finding the sine of angle F, so I know angle F is here. I know I need to know the opposite leg and the hypotenuse. So let's start with the easiest thing. In this triangle, the hypotenuse is always across from that 90-degree angle. So in this case, 8 is the hypotenuse. The opposite leg is the one across the triangle from our angle, which in this case would be 6. So what this means is the sine of F should equal the opposite leg divided by the hypotenuse. Or in other words, the sine of angle F is equal to 6/8. And the sine of F can be reduced. 6 divided by 8 can be reduced to 3/4. So that would be the sine of F, 3/4. Now let's look at the cosine of angle T. That'll be our next one, cosine of angle T. So cosine of angle T, obviously it starts with the letter C. So I know I'm going to use CAH, C-A-H. Cosine uses an adjacent, starting with letter A, and a hypotenuse. So the cosine of angle T should equal the adjacent leg over the hypotenuse. The only thing is it has to be off of angle T. This is angle T. So the hypotenuse is going to stay the same. The hypotenuse won't change. But now I also need an adjacent leg. Adjacent means next to. I don't have to go across the triangle. I just need to look right next to angle T. So in this case, 6 is the adjacent leg when it comes to angle T. I'm not looking from angle F's perspective anymore. So the cosine of T will equal 6, the adjacent, over 8, the hypotenuse. And again, we can reduce that. So the cosine of angle T will equal 3 over 4. The last one we're going to look at is the tangent of angle F. So tangent of angle F, tangent starts with the letter T. The letter T tells me that I have to use TOA. Tangent uses the opposite leg and the adjacent. So it doesn't use the hypotenuse, but I would still mark it just so we're sure. Remember, in this one, we're looking at angle F. I need the opposite leg, because that's what it tells me. Opposite is the one directly across. And the adjacent is the one that it's next to. So I know that the tangent of angle F is equal to 6 the opposite over 5 the adjacent. Now let's actually go ahead and find some missing sides. When we're looking for missing sides, know that we're definitely going to need a calculator, which I'll show you here in a second. I would definitely recommend getting an app that has a scientific calculator or trying to use your phone, but make sure whatever you choose that it's in the degree setting and not the radians. If you look at example 2, obviously I'm trying to figure out how long x is. I'm also missing an angle or a side here, but I'm not interested in that. All I want to know is what does x equal. Remember, everything comes off of the angle. My angle is 24 degrees. I know that my hypotenuse will always be across from my 90-degree angle. The other two legs are what we really need to focus on. If I'm going all the way across the triangle, that takes me to my opposite leg. So I know x is going to be the opposite. And this angle 24 is right next to the side 19, so 19 is the adjacent. Now looking at SOH-CAH-TOA, I have information for the adjacent leg and the opposite leg. So I have an O and an A. If I look at my three options, SOH-CAH-TOA, the only option that has an O and an A is TOA. TOA starts with the letter T, so the tangent of our angle should equal, I won't say x. Here we'll use theta. Theta is just a symbol for a missing angle. You can think of it as x, but we have an x in our problem, so I don't want to use the same letter. So the tangent of our angle theta is equal to the opposite leg over the adjacent. So the tangent of 24 degrees, which is our angle, is equal to the opposite x over the adjacent 19. Now my job is obviously to solve for x, and I would do that by multiplying both sides by 19. So I know that x equals 19 times the tangent of 24 degrees. Now, we need to give this as an actual numbered answer. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to get our calculator. And we're going to check to make sure that our mode is in degree. And we're going to hit enter. So let's look back at that. X equals 19 times the tangent of 24 degrees. So 19 times tangent is TAN. And then 24 degrees, we're going to close our parentheses, hit enter. So 8.45. I'm going to round that to 8.5. And this is a side, so we don't use a degree symbol. All right, let's look at our next example. In this example, I'm looking again for x, and I start the same way. I'm going to label my hypotenuse. Then I'm going to look at where my angle sits, and I'm going to find my opposite leg, meaning the one all the way across. That means the other side or the other leg is the adjacent. Now that my triangle is labeled, I'm going to write out SOH-CAH-TOA and pick the correct option. I have information for an O and an A. Again, O and A is here. So the tangent of our angle is the opposite over the adjacent, which means the tangent of 62 degrees is equal to 60 over x. Now, this is actually good because a lot of students get stuck here. They're not sure how to get the x out from underneath the bottom of the fraction, and what they try to do is just multiply both sides by 60, but that's incorrect. What I actually need to do is multiply both sides by x to get it out from underneath the bottom of the fraction. So x times the tangent of 62 degrees is equal to 60. Then we need to move the tangent of 60 degrees by getting rid of this multiplication. And to do that, we divide by the tangent of 62 degrees. So those will cancel. X equals 60 divided by the tangent of 62 degrees. So let's go to our calculator again. X equals 60 divided by, and I'm going to put parentheses, tangent, 60 degrees, 62 degrees, close the parenthesis, enter. 31.9. Alright, that's finding missing sides using SOH-CAH-TOA. Again, guys, I would highly recommend you get this app. It's called Calculate 84. It gives you a complete TI-84 calculator, completely free. You just need to create an account and sign in with them, and it will always be free for you. Alright? Not voluntary. It is voluntary. It's recommended, but it's not mandatory. I can't make you download it. It's just recommended. All right, have a great day, guys. I'll see you later.